So,
little
Will,
awkward.
tell me, how was your week?
My week was...
Hang on, I'm almost afraid to ask. I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they ask how Will's week was, so
Oh,
I have
boy.
to share an interesting story. I was talking to one of my friends back home, and he started dating this girl
Okay.
who was a pig. And
He started dating like she was dirty?
No, she was literally a female pig, and it was going
The
well.
animal?
Yeah, the animal.
Oh, good Lord.
And everything was going well for like a week, and her sister squealed on her. So the mom and dad sat my buddy down, and they asked how long this has been going on, and it went on for about a week. So, but I have another little fun thing. So I love walking, and as I'm walking in the desert, so I have to paint this picture for everyone.
All right.
Where I live is in the middle of nowhere, okay? And I go for 6-8 mile walk every day just to kind of unwind. And as I'm walking up this little like canal road, the water in the canal only gets released like in the summertime to let the overflow up north. So it's about a mile straight up this little frontage road. And I've been walking this thing for 2.5, 3 years, every day religiously. And I look over in the canal, and it looked like a tibia bone off on the side. And I'm thinking, nah, maybe one of these little wild kids around the neighborhood, was messing in their parents' Halloween props and kind of stew it out there. They get out there, shoot guns, drink, whatever they do as teenagers.
Right.
So I kept going. And then I start thinking, I get up to my little rock, and I'm like, this is not sitting in my mind so well. And I'm thinking, what if that was a real human bone? Because you always see this on like the crime shows that I watch.
Very true.
I get up there, I call my wife, and I'm like, yeah, I think there's a human bone in the canal.
Hang on. You seen the bone, and the first thought was, let me call my wife and tell her I seen the bone?
Yeah, because if I put my fingerprints on it, I could be going down for a crime I didn't commit.
It wasn't to call 911?
Nah,
Okay.
no.
All right.
It never crossed my mind. Okay.
All right.
So on my way back down, I jumped down in the canal that's dried up, and I call her, and I said, hey, this is real. I kicked it with my foot, and I thought it's heavy. It looked like it'd been like weathered by the sun. And this canal had been dry for weeks, and I know it wasn't washed down from anywhere. So I kicked it. I called her, and she says, oh, call the non-emergency. So
Smart lady.
I
Just
proceeded
saying.
to call like the non-emergency, and the guy said, hey, would you mind waiting there? So I did. I'm looking like this. So you have a creepy, bald-looking white dude. For those of you that cannot see, I'm standing in this really ritzy, yuppie neighborhood off in the desert, staring off, looking at the houses down where this bone was found. And the non-emergency dispatch guy is like, would you mind waiting there? And everyone's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, really self-conscious about, they're going to call the law on me because I look like I was just completely up to hoo-ha.
Hang on. For those that are not from Tennessee, that would be the police.
Yes.
The law equals the police.
Yes, the man. So I'm standing there like another hour and a half. It's getting cold, and the police department, I can't say the police department division that was coming up there, but I stood there and waited. The lady goes, well, it's not my jurisdiction. I can't do it. So we walk like almost a mile up to this place, and she's like, I know in her mind, she's like, I'm walking out with this bald-headed weirdo up in the desert. She has her hand on her gun. I could tell she's nervous. She's a little bitty short little girl.
Well, I would be nervous.
Yeah, so I'm
And
thinking,
it's dark. Or
and
getting dark.
common sense, you're like, I know she's feeling really awkward.
Right.
So we get up there. She looks. She goes, in my opinion, it's a human bone. Long story short, another division came, and about 4 hours into this, I just happened to kind of cruise back up. I've been released. They're doing their little anthropologist or whatever the bone people are, the crime scene units up there. I get up and talk to them. They said, oh, in our opinion, it looks like an animal. And I'm thinking, if this is like a coyote bone or anything,
big coyote?
I want to move because it was completely huge, and it would like carry a full-grown man out. So I go back the next day, and the spot where this human bone, it was moved, and they had dug like a 2-foot perimeter around it and removed the bone. Nothing was
The
ever
animal
said.
bone.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
a human bone.
Yeah.
So America, I think I may have found Jimmy Hoffa, but the town that I live in did not want to bring scrutiny upon my neighborhood because they would scare everyone.
So, hey, I was talking to a good trucker friend of mine,
Okay.
JR,
Oh.
and he's been around a while and seen a few things. And he brought up the topic of forward-facing cameras. A lot of drivers now have forward-facing cameras, and companies are kind of requiring them, mainly to exonerate them in funny things that are things that happen on the highway, crashes, or drivers do funny things that sometimes they want to blame on truckers, and cameras bail them out. And so I've brought you as one more story today. I brought you one that I want you to see and
Okay.
ask you which movie in bygone days this video clip reminds you of.
Oh boy.
And for those that are listening to this podcast, I'm going to kind of describe it. So if you'll look at the monitor, we'll let
Okay.
it roll.
Oh boy.
So
I got my
here's
popcorn ready.
yeah, here's a driver, just minding his own business, driving the speed limit, happens to be in the right lane, passing a merging lane on the freeway, and the camera's recording this, and there's a car passing him on the left in the middle lane, and lo and behold, out of nowhere
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of like
comes
Smokey
a
and the Bandit.
Camaro, smoking his tires, doing a 360 spin in front of him,
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
and then goes off into the borrow pit. Okay,
Wow.
so what movie does that remind you of?
Smoking the
I
Bandit.
said Smokey and the Bandit.
I
Smoking
agree.
the Bandit. There's another one, a TV series. That they
Knight
used to-
Rider.
They used to do that one. That's not what
Magnum
I'm thinking of.
PI.
Oh, that's a good guess. Not yet. Not that one.
What era? What?
70s.
Oh geez.
Charger.
Dukes of Hazzard.
wow.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Didn't-
The Duke Boys.
Yeah.
Duke boys, right?
But they were on dirt, not pavement. That looked
That's
like that.
true.
made it a little
That's
more
true.
dangerous.
But they were doing 360s.
But
Right?
he did go off the.
Yeah, that
But
looks pretty
isn't that the
scary.
craziest thing?
Yeah, that's pretty
Wow.
scary.
So JR, I was telling you about JR, and he's talking about the camera and how he was driving down a freeway. Again, middle lane, minding his own business, and there's another truck up ahead on the right, and a car just ahead of him, and all of a sudden drifts into the right lane and smacks the tandems on the back of this truck's trailer. Obviously messed up his car, threw him into a little bit of a, oh, what's happening? And then he was able to slow down. JR, looking ahead, put on his brakes, and that driver was able to exit with significant damage to his car. And JR watched the whole thing. And it was also recorded on his camera how the car drifted out of his
Right.
lane and hit. And he was going to try and blame it on the trucker.
Oh, 100%.
And the only thing that JR could think of was he was probably a distracted driver holding a cell phone, trying to text, wasn't paying attention, and
Yep.
drifted
Yep.
right into the truck. So our cameras, our forward-facing cameras can be our friends.
Oh yeah.
And
They
that-
protect your CDL.
Dukes of Hazzard was one more story.
That's kind of positive to hear on the camera because drivers in our industry, they're scared to death to come on with companies with forward facing. And that's kind of positive to hear, that they're there to help you, save you, not
Yeah.
there to watch you and be big brother. Positive story, Corey.
Yeah,
There
they're
you
there
go.
to protect you, protect that CDL.
So you never know
because
what
you're right.
direction Corey's going to go in with a story.
True
He's
state.
just, that's why I'm excited every episode.
I can't wait for our next one.
Thank you for watching that clip. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more clips like that, please click here.
Or if you'd like to check out a full episode, click here.
And don't forget to subscribe to us on
YouTube.